All right, Coach Williams, how you doing?
I'm awesome, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. Taking over, going from T Will to A Will. So how
There you go.
have you been adjusting to the new role, DC?
Oh, I've been adjusting well, to be honest with you. And the biggest thing with that, with not having to go somewhere new, being able to stay here where I was at, with the familiarity with the people that's around me, with some of the players, that has definitely helped with that transition and made it a whole lot smoother.
Who are some of the players that have stood out to you since you've taken over that's making, that jump that, you're looking to see going into the season?
From a football standpoint or from a leadership standpoint?
Both.
Both from a leadership standpoint, I would say Drop, Tremont Morris-Brash, Josh Sellerscar, Jason Johnson has done a good job. Quadric Buller has actually done a good job in the secondary. And then from a football standpoint, and obviously all those guys doing a good job football-wise too, but Lee Hunter is a guy that I keep on talking about. He keeps flashing these first 3 days. I would say Brandon Adams is one that has flashed. He's going into year 3, so he's doing a really good job. Malachi Lawrence is one that I'm really, really excited about. I talked about him in the spring, and he's continued to improve and wow. Obviously, John Walker is a young guy that's going to have a chance to come in and help us as well. And there's a slew of other guys. The list goes on.
No, for sure. How much, because you've obviously been around, so you know what's worked, but at the same time, you have your own idea and philosophy, and you probably tinker with some stuff. So just tell us a little bit about your philosophy and what things you like to maybe tinker with, either with technique or the players or scheme.
Yeah, well, schematically, the biggest thing is having a foundation and building on it. Not trying to live in 4 or 5 different worlds, kind of pick a lane, and whatever you're going to do, okay, have a complement to it. And then as we go, build another complement to it, then another complement to it, and then at that point, now the guys are understanding conceptually what you're trying to get done, and I think it's a whole lot easier, and the guys are, it's not as hard for them to learn, and they're more comfortable and confident in what they're doing.
So I heard about how Jason Johnson's been one to get a lot more vocal. So what have you seen as far as him blossoming in terms of that, and the big difference between the Jason Johnson we saw last year, who was the team's leading tackler, one of the better tackling seasons this program has seen in a while, to the guy we see now?
Oh, the biggest thing, and it started first off with him just in the linebacker room. He was speaking up more. Then now empowering him and putting him in front of the entire defense, and not necessarily forcing him to come out of his shell, but really just empowering him and giving him the opportunity to say, hey man, this is your defense. You need that. You're going to have the opportunity to lead this defense. If that's going to be the case, you're going to have to get up in front of him and talk in front of him, and I think he's accepted that challenge very well.
What got you into coaching?
I would have to say a lot of my Little League coaching when I played baseball and football was very influential in my life, and also my grandfather. He was a coach, and his biggest deal was impacting young men, and he had a huge impact on my life. So I think with the combination of the two kind of drove me into coaching.
What's it like working for Coach Gus?
It's awesome, man. And it's crazy because I've worked with him at 2 different spots, but really on like 3 or 4 different levels. Because being at Auburn, I was kind of his right-hand man, the head coach analyst. And then coming here initially, I was the cornerbacks coach. And then he made me assistant head coach. So like the conversations are changing, then now I'm his defensive coordinator. So it's obviously been a pretty good working relationship with him, giving me the many opportunities that he has given me. But he's a great dude, man. He hires great people and put them around him, and that's why also another reason why we have a really, really good staff.
What was it like when he told you, hey, I'd like you to be my defensive coordinator? Was that a special moment for you? What was that like?
Yeah, well, I got chills multiple body now, but it was a special moment. That was I don't want to say lifelong goal. It was a goal that probably after year 4, year 5, that that was something that I wanted to do. And I had the opportunity to coordinate at Tusculum College at the Division II level. And then I went to Furman for 2 years, and I actually became the defensive coordinator there. And then that's when Coach Malzahn hired me at Auburn, and I did not want to go. I wanted to have the opportunity to call the defenses at the FCS level at a pretty prestigious FCS school. And Coach just like, listen, dude, if you come with me, you learn the other side of the ball, it's only going to help you down the road. And I think by listening to him and making that jump has helped put me in the position that I am now.
So in that case, you being a defensive coordinator at the FCS level, now you're doing it at the FBS level. What have you kind of taken with you from that experience into this one?
The biggest thing is relating to the guys and being able to teach. You know, a lot of guys, once you get to a certain level, that teaching aspect and development is a lost art. You know, a lot of guys just want to go scheme, and forget about the fundamentals of things. And so coaching at the Division II level and the FCS level at a private school is something that is in my core, that regardless of what level or what school I coach at, the development and the fundamental part of it is the most important part.
Now, of course, the beam is that the Big 12 doesn't play defense. So what do you do as a defensive coordinator now that you're going into that conference to kind of get the leg up as far as that, maybe counteract that?
I would say getting the guys to believe that we can go in this league and play good defense. And you have our state that has shown that you can play good defense in this league or whatnot. And I know it's a lot of points being scored, but at the same time, if you look at some of the other leagues, it's the same thing. And it's really across football, period. Whether it's college football or the National Football League, there's more points being scored. So I get that from a standpoint of, hey, you got to go stop them. But that's been the name of the game since it started. And one of the reasons that the points are going up because the snap counts are going up. All right, instead of it being a 60 snap game, it's 85, 90 snaps. Well, now you got to look at why are you having those 85, 90 snap games when you can cut it down to 70. It's getting off the field on third down. It's stopping teams in the red zone, forcing them to kick field goals, forcing turnovers. And so just instilling those situations into our guys, knowing that in those moments, that's when we have to be at our best and not busting the coverage on third down or getting out our gap in the red zone and letting them run the ball in on 3rd and 3 when we can stop them and force them to kick a field goal. And so just having those guys locked in those situations, I think, will help eliminate points on the board.
We've heard a lot about depth on this team from Gus and a bunch of other coaches here. Talk about that from as far as a defense's perspective.
We are deeper than what we've been in the past here. This is the first time, even when I was at Auburn with Coach, that we've been able to run with 3 groups during fall camp. It was normally 2 because we didn't have enough depth along the defense and the offensive line. But being here and bringing in some of those transfer guys that are older, that has really helped us with the depth because you got a lot of guys that have played other places, so they're coming in, they're competing, and so that has allowed us to have more depth versus it being just a whole bunch of freshmen. That won't necessarily be the case because some of those guys are ready, some of them are not.
How is Coach Gus different today than he was at Auburn? He joked that the difference now is he's got more gray hair. You know him as well. What do you see in him today? How he's different maybe than he was at Auburn? Is he different?
The one thing that stands out, he's a lot more relaxed. You know, he's still an intense guy. He's still a laser-focused guy as he was at Auburn, but you can tell he's excelled a bit, and so that's been really good to see over the last couple of years being here with him versus 19 being with him at Auburn.
I'm good.
Awesome.
Thank you,
That's all,
Coach.
Coach.
Appreciate
Appreciate you all.